Namaste. Thank you so much, friends. The the topic that we'll be discussing today is the core of practical spirituality. While we have begun the practice of our personal evolution through meditation, the ultimate goal that we are striving for is to expand our awareness of the all self in every single individual, in all of creation in itself. So the concept that we are going to be talking about is group consciousness. It's from this book, The Psychology of Cooperation in Group Consciousness by Torkom Saradarian. He's a wonderful master, Armenian master, who is a pioneer in in the spiritual science subject. Before we dwelled into how do we enhance our group consciousness, what is the psychology of cooperation, let us fundamentally understand what group consciousness essentially means. Because a lot of times, let us say that we are in an organization and we think that we are part of a group. But what essentially defines a group and what exactly does group consciousness mean? Let us dwell into that first. And then, of course, we will go deeper and deeper into the subject. So, what essentially is group consciousness, right? Let's define a group. A group is a collection of people who, and these two criteria are really important. People who have a common goal, that's the first step. And second, those who have a group of people who have that common goal, to achieve that goal, they are practicing three principles to achieve that goal. They have to cooperate with each other. They must be perseverant to achieve that goal. And they must all work with a selfless motive. Now, classic example of a group is your physical body. All the cells are individual gods which are working together with the common goal of keeping this physical entity, let us say in my case, Alekhya, this physical entity of Alekhya, healthy, happy, and empowered. And every cell in my physical entity, in this physical entity, Alekhya, is working together, is cooperating together, it's persevering consistently towards selfishly. No one cell is saying, if, for example, a lot of times, a simple example is when my physical, let us say, I have a cold and I'm experiencing discomfort in my body. So every cell in my body is working to take the weight of that particular, my nostrils and my throat area is working towards improving my health at that point in time, so that that cell which is not able to perform optimally, other cells are picking up the weight. That is selfless motive. Now, classic example. So whenever you want to define a definition and why it is important to understand in the further stages, we'll go into greater depth. So a group essentially is a collection of identities that come together which work towards a common goal and who try to achieve that goal through cooperation, perseverance, and selfless motive. Now, that's a group. So what exactly is consciousness? Till now, we have understood consciousness as the fundamental verity of all of existence. That is, to be aware is essentially the function of being conscious. The minute that we become aware that we are, that is consciousness. Now, when we specifically talk about group consciousness, what do we essentially mean? It is the awareness of yourself which exists in others, and the true self which exists in others, which is in you. It's a beautiful concept. In meditation, every day that we are connecting back to ourselves, our true selves, we realize we are not just the physical body which is experiencing all of the physical phenomena, which is the five senses. We're not just the mind, which is the faculty of experiencing this physical reality through all of our emotions and thoughts and feelings. We are not just our intellect, which is guiding us to discern between what is working for us and what is not working for us. We are that consciousness, we are that awareness that I'm a sum total of all of the things that I'm experiencing. So I'm not just Alekhya right now who is taking a class, who is all the wonderful things that Divya ma'am has expressed about me. But I am a combination of every single experience that I have experienced in this lifetime, which has led me to understanding this subject. So, group consciousness essentially is the awareness of your inner true self, which exists in all others, and the true self, which exists in all others, which is essentially in you. So, what does that mean? Whatever that you are seeing as the outer reflection in every single relationship of yours is essentially a culmination of that awareness within you itself. So, if you are experiencing an emotion in the external world which is causing you discomfort, ultimately it is that same feeling which exists within you. It is not the other person outside who is the challenge. It is a quality within you which is manifesting that external experience. Now, so what is the purpose of group consciousness? Our entire life is the reflection, is the state of our consciousness. Our physical health is a demonstration of how every cell within our body is cooperating with each other to make this physical entity, Alekhya's experience, as seamless, as empowering, and as smooth as possible. So every cell, my physical health is demonstrating to me the state of the group consciousness of all the physical cells within my body. My immediate surroundings, so my family, my individual consciousness when expanded to my immediate family. How is my relations with every member in my family is demonstrating to me the reflection of the state of consciousness of that group. How my family, which forms part of a physical society, so let us say you're living in a community, a gated community, or let us say you're living in India and I stay in North India, so I'm living in Delhi. So how is my physical environment? So all of the people who are living in my physical building, how is my interaction with them? What kind of a relation am I experiencing with all of these people together is the state of reflection of the group consciousness of that particular group. Take away the society, the nation that I'm part of. How is India evolving through the process? How enlightened is India? How healthy is in India? How progressive is India? Is a reflection of the group consciousness of all the Indians in which I am also a member. Not just India, now we're talking about the world. What is the state of consciousness of the entire relationship of planet Earth right now, in which I too am a member? So friends, group consciousness is essentially the fundamental way in which we can keep evolving our individual self to expanding and experiencing that infinite self in this physical reality. So if we really want to grow spiritually, it is not just through the practice of meditation in which we become aware of the consciousness which exists in all of us, but through the practice of Sajjana Sangatya and Swadhyaya, we come to the awareness that there is a grand self which is experiencing itself through us. And so you are no longer just the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you are experiencing, but you are a sum total of everything that is happening around you. We affect everything else, and everything is affecting us simultaneously. And so what does that mean for me? Yes, okay. So I am part of a group. I know I should be so I always take back the example of our cells, because our physical health, most of the time, a lot of us have entered into spirituality or have started a practice of meditation through some health challenge. We've gone through some physical experience in our lives which was challenging, and we realized, oh, you know what? All other doors have closed, and hence the door of spirituality opened for us. So we started a journey of self actualization through the practice of meditation. But what does that essentially mean for me? Ultimately, when I come out of meditation right now, you have your daily routines to be a part of. We have all of these wonderful relationships that we have to fulfill our duties towards. So now, how is it that as I am working towards myself, how every single cell within my body is working towards making this physical entity or feel healthier, happier, more empowered? How can I be a true member of this group so that I too can create a state of harmony, joyfulness, prosperity, and compassion and joy for everyone around me? And so, this is the essence of group consciousness. The, f- the fundamental principle is the science of friendship. It is so very, very, very simple and it's so beautifully captured by Thorcom in this book. Friendship is the foundation on which group consciousness is built. Friends, group consciousness is not some higher world subject that you have to access to. It is not occult science. Ultimately, why have we come into this physical reality in the first place? To go through all of these experiences. It is through these experiences that we evolve to gain greater understanding that I am not just me having these physical experiences. I am a sum total of every single self that is experiencing itself. Now, for you to understand this esoteric concept that the what Advaita philosophy says, it's the Brahman and Atman which is experiencing itself. There is the all self and there's this individual self, the Sarvatma and the Jivatma experiencing itself. This is all fundamental spiritual science. The most basic thing is to become a friend. It's a science of friendship which lays down the foundation of group consciousness, on which we build group consciousness. Now, I don't know how many of you all know Brahmashri Patriji. So, if those who do, you can take him as a classic example, because what we're going to discuss now as part of friendship is to go through the principles of friendship. Now, once we start to understand what is the fundamental principles of friendship, we too can reflect every day. Self-reflection is the key to understand how much of these principles are we adopting into our life. There are a total of 14 principles which Thorcom has defined in this book. I'm going to be touching upon the top 5, the top 6, and then the others which are, how do I say it? It is so simple that we tend to overlook it. So, the basic principles of friendship. And you can take each of these principles, and while I speak, and you can reflect on it, you could probably take down pointers. Because every time I have been reading this book since 2016, I've probably read this book about 50 times. And every time when I go back to this book and I go through these principles, I realize in some aspect of our relationships, in each of our relationships with the external world, these qualities, percentage on which we are demonstrating determines how deeply we are truly living in group consciousness. So, without further ado, the first principle, faithfulness and trust. Friends, most of the challenges that we face in any relationship is we don't trust. There is always, why? Because again, the amount of trust you have on another person is the amount of trust that you have within your own self. The most advanced human being is one who is a friend to all. When Patri sir used to hear, Patri sir, founder of Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement, when he would hear people's experiences, a lot of times I have asked him, sir, people say that, you've come in their experiences, they've seen you. You say you don't get any meditation experiences. You don't have any third eye visions. But everyone else says, oh, sir came in my dream. Sir, I traveled with sir. Sir's astral body I saw him yesterday. How is it that so many people are experiencing, but you yourself are not experiencing it? Is it really true? So Patri sir said, there is no reason for me to mistrust anyone. There is no reason for me to mistrust anyone, friends. And in this one statement, I realize I am always looking, and I say when I say I, each one of us in every relationship of ours is always trying to see how that other person is not fitting into our structure of belief systems. And because that person is not fitting into a belief system, we don't trust that other person. Our belief system has a set of expectations. This is the right way to do it. The minute we see that the person is not responding in that particular our set called of expectations, we lose trust on that person. We lose faith on that person. A true friend is one who stands by you despite all odds. Let us say, for example, you are in a relationship and your partner is working on themselves. A lot of times we expect them to do certain things, but we forget that that individual, that person knows what is best for them. I can be a guide by telling them all the right things, but I must trust that that individual knows what is the best thing for them. That is why you would have seen Patrisa never gave any personal comments on an individual. They were always impersonal, fundamental principles that he shared with us. A true friend is one who never gives an opportunity to mistrust another person. When we have faith and trust in another individual, we strengthen the bond of friendship because we strengthen that person's own inner belief system that they can do it. We understand that everyone has the fundamental potential to reach that ultimate potential of theirs. But it is our own mistrust, our own lack of faith in the divine plan that the entire universe is working to make what you want happen that we pull ourselves back. The deeper and more real your trust is, the more joy you will be able to experience in that relationship. That is why when we were around Patri sir, we felt so empowered. Yes, I can do anything, because he never gave any reason for us to believe that we could not do it. True friendship begins with the fundamental principle that we must have faith and trust in each other. Maybe in that point in time, you won't be able to see the larger picture of that action that is taking place. But the first fundamental step of friendship is to believe and have faith in your friend, in your group member, to say yes. Maybe your husband, according to you, is spending too much money on one thing and you're like, oh my God, we have financial commitments, we have so many things to do. And you say, oh, but you didn't discuss it with me. Why did you talk to me about this first? Have faith that they too are working for the same goal that you are working for. Take every relationship of yours and introspect and see how much do you really trust the other individual. The level of trust that you have in the other individual will directly reflect how deeply you're living in a state of group consciousness. Now, the second principle that we have is the principle of diligence. A great leader is a true friend of our nation. Now, Torkom in the book gives an example that there's a family of 5. There's a mother, father, and 3 daughters. And so the mother cooked the meal. The father was helping in the dishes. And so everyone had come for dinner. So now father and mother have done their duty. And now the 3 kids, the mother asked the kids, kids, can you please help me let's take the food back inside and set the table. And all of them said, no, mom, not today, tomorrow. Now, if the purpose of that group is to make sure that the physical environment is clean, organized, each one has to overcome their inner laziness, because laziness leads to stagnation. A lot of times you have to work on your relationships. And laziness is not just physical labor laziness, friends. It's also about emotional laziness. When we choose to hold on to our old patterns, to say, you know what, this is the way I am. I don't express. I expect, I don't talk. I show through my actions. But maybe the other person is a member in your group. doesn't understand how you express. Maybe they don't, what you are expecting them to see in those actions, they're not able to see. And the minute you define yourself and you say, you know what, this is who I am. I don't talk, I don't express, I'll show it through my actions. But the other person who's a member of the group is not able to understand your actions. Your diligence means to step out of your comfort zone, to come out of that old belief system and pattern of yours that I I don't have to express. I'm fine. This is the way that I am. You come out of that I amness and you say, let me be that person who can be there for the other person, who can understand the other person. And so the concept of diligence leads to a wonderful outcome, which is you become a great leader. A great leader is one who's constantly working physically, emotionally, and mentally to ensure that every single member of the group is evolving. Now, classic example in a household is your mother. I can say that is the case in my household, definitely. By striving to make sure that every time she comes out of her comfort zone, being there, making space emotionally, mentally, and physically for every single individual he comes into this household, every single member of this family who come or new members who are adding into this family, she is stepping out of her comfort zone to be a better individual for the other person. And through the process, she is expanding her own understanding of group consciousness. Now, the third fundamental principle, which most often than not, we are always overstepping, is non-imposition. In every relationship of ours, we are in one way or the other binding our partners, friends, children, group members into abiding by our belief system, our physical urges and desires, our thoughts, our principles, our ideas. A classic example is our parents who have a certain belief system of how their kids should be raised, how their kids should be, what should be their schooling, what should be their habits, what the kid should eat, what the kid should not eat. Let us say you're in an organization and you're a leader. Every team member has a certain way in which they work, but you expect that the team reports back to you in a certain way, talks to you in a certain way, has a similar working style as you. Let us say you're living in a community, you have a joint family, similar expectations that we have from each other. That the other person should live as per your standards. The principle of friendship can be enhanced through practicing the principle of non-imposition. The science of friendship can be enhanced by practicing the principle of non-imposition. When you try to enslave a friend, you will eventually lose them. Now, when we say friends, it's not just people who you are in a personal relationship in the form of your family. Your office members are also part of a group. Let's say you play a sport, so you probably play badminton, so you have a group of groups who you play badminton with, because the common goal is everyone gets together to play badminton. Let us say you're living in an Indian community abroad, and so you have a group of, so all the group members are working together to, uphold the Indian values in a foreign country. All of these are groups. Now, the minute you try to enslave an individual person in that group by imposing your physical urges, you want to eat out, you say, no, let's go eat out. Today, you want to eat a certain meal and the other person doesn't want to eat a certain meal. You say, no, I feel this is only what we should do. Your emotional outbursts, you're not in a good mood. This usually happens in a household environment, especially in offices as well. You're not in a great mood at home. You carry forward that if you're in a position of authority, your mood, if you don't know how to cut off, and you carry forward those emotions, so your fight at home spills over to a bad working day as well. because you're imposing your emotional outbursts at work, at home, onto your office. Your principals, kids, often parents do that. And where they say, you know what, this is what I believe my kid should be doing. This is what I think that my kid, these are my principles, this is what I was raised to uphold. Now I think my kids also should do the same thing. Eventually, the more we try to impose our urges, our belief system on another individual, we tend to lose that individual. Because you don't have faith and trust that that person can acknowledge and understand your belief system, your thought process. So, again, point for reflection. Contemplate on your relationships and see how much of our own physical urges, emotional drives, our principles, our ideas are we imposing onto the people in which we have different form of relationships. Now, another principle, very, very, very important principle, and this somehow links back to non-imposition. Challenge your friends by being an example. So if you want someone to work harder, if you want your kids to work harder, and this is a classic tip that comes in parenting. So if you want your kids to work harder, you demonstrate that quality. You want your partner to read more books, you start reading. You want your partner to do meditation, don't tell him to do meditation. Don't tell her to do meditation. You practice it yourself. When you start to emulate all the wonderful changes and the benefits of meditation in your own life, automatically, by the virtue of the law of attraction, because your energetic field has changed, now the member of that group, the member of your group is now going to feel inspired by you. We have to challenge people by example. We must challenge people by inspiring them. We must inspire people by becoming an example. That is, again, a classic example in this case is Brahmashri Patriji. He never asked people to do things. He did it himself. He said, utilize all your 24 hours to do your best, to give your best. Never waste a single moment. So he would talk to everyone. He would edit books. He would enjoy himself. He would continue to read. He would continue to travel. He never let a single moment go by where he was not fundamentally utilizing his 24 hours. And today, even when he's not there, he's challenged us by example, by inspiring us, by demonstrating all those qualities. People don't learn just by just listening. They learn by doing. When I start to observe my own journey, when I saw such drastic changes through meditation in my parents, I was inspired to do meditation. When I try to impose my partner should keep reading, he should read more spiritual books. But the minute I realize how much of what I'm asking him to do am I doing in my own life. So, of course, naturally, when I became aware that what I was imposing on another individual was not a quality I too myself was demonstrating, so the change happened within me. I started to read more and more. And naturally, by virtue of the change in my inner world, my external world also changed. And my group member, my partner, naturally felt inclined towards reading books because I created that energetic field around. How? By changing my inner world. So challenging by example fundamentally means bringing about that inner change within ourselves so that it can be emulated by everyone around us. And now, the fifth principle, which is an extremely, extremely, extremely important principle, which determines how evolved the group is. If you want to know how evolved a group is, try and see. All you have to do, the dipstick test is every member of that group experiencing freedom. If you are not experiencing freedom, the degree of freedom that you're experiencing is the degree of group consciousness evolved in that. That is why when Patri sir said, Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement is the greatest expression of group consciousness, you will see in PSSM, there's no one that is bound by anything. It is the ultimate freedom. Because in ultimate freedom, our true virtues are tested, and our inner virtues, we expose each other. You can use fear on your kids, you can use fear on your partner by talking to them and telling them, you know what, I expect you do this and this things. This makes me happy. And because we are in a relationship with them where they are also looking out for our well-being, we might even end up doing it. But friends, in that part, while he or she or your kids may be doing it while you are around, they have not fundamentally changed themselves. So classic example is, often I mean we were discussing that recently, that parents have set a lot of rules and regulations. You know what, your screen time is so many minutes. You cannot go beyond this time. Otherwise, you have to put your phone away. And so I will give you the phone only during these half an hour, 1 hour period of your time. A lot of times, you will hide it. My mom used to do that, where I would eat a lot of chocolates, so she would be like, okay, I'm going to hide the chocolates. So the minute you start withdrawing, or you start denying that individual, while you can try to bring about a behavioral change in that individual, it will be short lived. The fundamental change that you would want that individual develops as his virtue, as self-control, to become self-responsible, will come in freedom. How much freedom we give to ourselves is how much freedom we are able to give to others. How free are we of our limiting patterns is a direct reflection when we see how much freedom we are able to give to people in our immediate environment. Now, the sixth principle of friendship, to develop group consciousness, is economy of everything. Economy in everything. How do we utilize our resources put together? And I'll give an example of our physical body itself. In meditation, we gain a lot of energy. And so right after meditation, you're feeling really energetic, positive. And immediately, sometimes, because we have a working day, you pick up your phone, you start scrolling. Or through the day, we end up eating very unconsciously. You're watching television or you're watching your mobile phone and you're eating. We drink water by not really being aware of drinking water. We watch unnecessarily, we talk unnecessarily, we think unnecessarily and unscientifically. So even though I gained so much energy in meditation, how I utilize that energy through the day determines how much my group consciousness in the individual cells of my body are expanding. If I'm meditating for 2 hours and I've gained energy for a whole day, and I waste all of that energy by over talking, by gossiping, or by complaining, or by watching something unnecessarily, what have I done? Have I done justice to the energy that I have gained? It is the economy in everything. So the basic principle of friendship determines that we must exercise economy in everything. It does not mean becoming stingy. It does not necessarily mean only about money. It is about utilizing those resources for at the right place and at the right reason and at the right time. Where should I talk? What should I listen to? What should I see? How should I eat my food? This is for a physical body. Let us say you're a family of 4. All the money that you're getting, is it needed for me to go, indulge in that additional thing? Is it important for us to go out every other weekend? Whatever is the purpose of that group, and whatever are the combined resources of that group, utilizing those resources to the best of their abilities at the right place for the right reasons and the right time. Only then can we truly say that that group consciousness is evolving. Because in friendship, there is an economy in everything. Everyone should come together in equal measures to pool together resources to achieve that common goal. Now, The other principles, which again are further defined in friendship, is respectfulness. Keeping yourself in a state of respectfulness, you operate from the higher mind, the soul, rather than the personality. Another principle is gracefulness. No matter how angry you are, by using with your poor choice of words, with your lack of awareness and where you are expressing yourself, whether it is needed for you to express, you disobey or you do not practice that principle of friendship. In gracefulness and in refinement is when we enhance the beauty of friendship. Another quality is of to develop another principle of friendship is to develop a sense of responsibility towards that friendship. Discipline, sacrifice, and a non-manipulative spirit are the principles of friendship. Friends, now while I've expressed the principles of friendship, right? Now we've understood this. There are every relationship of ours in one way or the other, we are experiencing these, or we are practicing these principles in one form or the other, but in various degrees. Now, why do I love this subject is, if you truly want to be a happy individual, you have to see how much happiness are you bringing to other people around you. So while we've begun the journey of meditation and we are having all of these wonderful benefits, essentially, and you might be really happy in your own self. But the question is, how happy are the people around you? Till you are living in your own individual self, you have only considered your group consciousness is only expanded to yourself. But to expand your group consciousness, see how many people are becoming happy through you. Yes, happiness is a personal choice, no doubt about it. How are you enabling other people to experience the joy, freedom of expression, of prosperity, of empowerment around you as well? It is not just enough for you to be happy. No one, because a true friend, imagine consciousness is a big picture, and each of us are puzzles of this picture. Each puzzle piece is looking to complete itself. It's trying to find its right puzzle pieces around it so it can complete that full picture of consciousness. A perfect friend is one who connects with you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And if you are able to connect with each person physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, friends, you have fulfilled the purpose of your life. While we have begun the path of spirituality by walking by our own self-improvement, our own self-actualization, the zenith point, the ultimate for us to reach, to say, hey, you know what? It's not it is not moksha where I have come out of my karmic cycle. It is not just that, it's much beyond. It is how well have I merged myself in every single group of mine where my personal identity remains. But I am truly contributing to that group to ensure that every purpose of that group is enhanced. There is no me that exists separately in that group. My individual qualities are enhanced when I become a perfect member of that group. Till I am a puzzle piece, I am just a puzzle piece kept separately. I am waiting to experience completion. A perfect member. So my moksha, it cannot be an individual moksha, because I will have to keep coming back until I experience that I am a part of everyone. When I can see myself as a part of every single person in this group, in every group that I am a part of, that is the ultimate. And that is why it's an infinite process that we keep going through again and again. Now, to become aware of what you are able to do for another person, Torkom has given wonderful principles of friendship. So all of these qualities, these principles that we spoke about today, they're just dipstick tests. It's a constant process of fine-tuning ourselves that we go through. And that is what spirituality is. While we've understood the scientific principles today of what friendship is, spirituality is the subjectiveness of those principles in my life, of how I am experiencing it. So to have faith and trust, to be diligent in every single relationship of ours, to not impose our belief system on another group member, to give the ultimate freedom to another individual, to explore, to challenge other people's virtues by demonstrating those virtues yourself, by inspiring other people, by demonstrating those qualities within yourself, to manage your resources so efficiently so that whatever you have, it is managed well. Whatever you have, little you have, more, it doesn't matter, because what you have is perfect. The amount of time you have, the amount of physical resources that you have, whatever you do, utilizing it perfectly. When you start demonstrating that in small measures, as you start growing and evolving and experiencing these emotions, these principles in a more deeper way, you will realize that you are merging with everyone around. There is no separation of you and the other individuals in your life. A true friend, the greatest, most advanced individual is one who is a friend of all. Because he or she is able to be there for the other person. There is no separation left. So there is no ego in those relationships. There is no imposition. There is just pure acceptance and knowingness that whatever is happening, you are a beautiful expression of consciousness exploring yourself. And I too am that. And I acknowledge your beauty to evolve through whatever journey that you're in. And I accept whatever it is, whatever state you're in, to experience my knowingness, my beingness in your life. And ultimately, what does that lead to? A friendship is the most sacred relationship because it transcends physical boundaries. It transcends time boundaries. And I'm sure you all have that friend in your life where you may not be talking to that person at all. It could be your mother, it could be a childhood friend, whatever. It could be even your partner. Where it doesn't matter whether you've spoken to them or not. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter what they are doing in their life. You know that they're there for you. And you know that no matter what choice that you make, what decision that you make in your life, they will support you through and through. They have faith in you. They don't impose. And they challenge you by demonstrating their qualities. So one such individual that I have been most fortunate of experiencing is Brahmarshi Patriji, who is a classic example of being a friend to all. We are in the Maitreya Buddha consciousness. We are no longer working for our individual self-enlightenment. We have come to an age where group enlightenment is very much needed. If we truly want to evolve as a human race, each one of us in every single group that we are part of, we have to keep answering and questioning ourselves, what am I doing today to enlighten the other person, to inspire another person, to make another individual happy? And truly in group consciousness, your individual virtues come into strength. Your talents, your inner skills, if you're in the right group, they will get enhanced. It is not that you lose your individual identity in a group. It is every beautiful quality of yours that is enhanced in a group. And so, let us endeavor to be the perfect group member for another person in a group. And higher the goal of that group, the more important it is for us to align to every group member physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. While this subject is a very deep subject, and I have just barely touched upon just the surface of it, but these qualities, every day, if we can reflect on, because whatever emotions or feelings and thoughts that you're experiencing in through the day are impacted by what relations we have around other people, what relation I have with myself, So you can see how much, which of these qualities you are not demonstrating currently, you know which area you can work on in your life. And that was the purpose of this session, to ensure that we have those pointers of self reflection to see where it is that we have, maximum scope for growth, and kind of going for that. So I wanted to practice the principle of economy. Thank you for the time. Thank you, Indian Federation of Spiritual Scientists, the most amazing platform created by Patri sir to bring spiritual science wisdom of the greatest masters across the globe onto a single platform. Um, Thanks to Patri sir, thank you to Swarnalata ma'am, thank you to all the participants of this group, for enabling me. You made space for this wisdom of that I have gained through my own experience. We will share it with you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.